Delilah Rose is an artist originally from Western Australia, now resident in Queensland. She released the album Moxie in 2022. As Delilah Rose and the Gunslingers, she released the EP Good Grief in 2018. She's also the host of the Song Café and of Australian Songwriting Retreats, and I'm sure there are other things we could talk about. Hello, Delilah.
Hi, Soph, how are you?
I'm great, and great to meet you. We've exchanged many emails. Great to meet you on Zoom and talk to you about your many different projects, because it's very cool, all the stuff you do. But I'm going to start with the Song Cafe because you have a show coming up in Brisbane on the 25th of January. So please tell us about it.
Amazing. Oh, we have a great lineup. Georgia Llewellyn, Sue Ray and Aunty Maggie Walsh are coming to play at the Song Cafe. It is a artists in the round event, so each artist takes a turn in telling a story about the song and elaborating a little bit more. They might go into process or story or and it's a First Nations event. So this is the Song Cafe is not my idea. It's pinched from the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville. And it's just going to be for women, First Nations and gender non-conforming here in Brisbane. I mean, just not the attendees, anyone can come, but those who are on stage, yeah.
It's for local artists, yeah.
Yes.
And where is this one going to be held?
This series is at the Cave in Woolloongabba.
And because I think I saw on your social media there, you had one last year and it might have been a different venue. So you were going to move around venues?
No, it was at the Cave in as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
so,
your
yeah.
home. That's the home.
Yeah, that's our home. Yeah, they've been so great to us, and it's really in alignment with their just the feel there and their values there, which is just that diversity should be celebrated and giving people a voice who don't usually. So Ruth's been so great, and so I've only held one. This is the second one in the series, and I'm already booking for the next few, so once a month kind of thing.
Yeah. Do people apply, or are you curating the selection of artists?
A little bit of both, yeah. So you can apply through the Instagram page. There's just a Google form where you go and pop your information in, and I'll check out your socials and see if we're a good fit for each other. And come on down and introduce yourself as well, that's probably the best way.
Well, I think that's part of what I would imagine you're trying to create, hoping to create, is some community around this Song Cafe. And of course, yes, if other artists come down, watch the performances, come up and say hi, it may or may not lead to them being in the Song Cafe as performers, but they're going to make some connections they didn't otherwise have.
Absolutely. And that's already what happened from the first Song Cafe. I pretty much just chose women that I wanted to meet. I'm an import, fresh import to Brisbane, and just thought that the easiest, quickest way for me to meet people in my community was to run a show. So I have done that, and I'm just choosing people that I admire on socials and love their music, and like I said, that's what's happened from the first one already. There's nothing else in Brisbane that is quite like this currently. So it's good to be able to give artists the opportunity to play something like this, because it's really cool, because the audience listens, everyone listens. It's not a pub audience, it's a pin drop kind of audience, and it gives people the opportunity to not only tell the story, but also to just be with other people in their community. And I think as a solo singer-songwriter, you can often get siloed and feel very alone in our industry. So it's good to look other people in the eye and say, oh my gosh, it's a bit tricky at the moment, isn't it? And we can all commiserate and then feel a whole lot better when we leave to go home.
And people love to hear about work, I always think. So if the audience members are not singer-songwriters. That part's interesting. If the performers are talking about the process of writing that song and the story behind it, I always think that stuff's interesting. Well, at least to the audience who's likely to come to that show.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love story. I love listening to people's story and digging into their process and how on earth did you come to that? How did you get from Z to A and then from A to Z, and now you've got this beautiful crafted piece of deliciousness from the trauma that's happened in your life, like I love story.
So you said you started the Song Cafe as a way of finding your community in Brisbane. Of course, it's one thing to have the idea. It's another to then execute the idea and then plan the gig. Did you have a background in planning events like that?
Yeah, I've run events for 20 years or something over in Perth. So it's not it was an easy thing for me to do. Before, I think I grew up in the wheat belt, and I find it very easy to go and talk to people and just tell them what would be a great idea. I'm an ideas person, so if I'm an ideas person, so it's great to be able to meet some other people in the community who are also ideas people and take a punt. But I think there's that, like my dad's passed now, but he gave me this beautiful gift, and that's just to have a go. Have a go. What's the worst that could happen? And I think that's been really great advice for me in all things. And not everything's worked. Lots of things haven't, but a few things have, and they've been really, really great. And this is one of them so far.
I suppose it's always the case that you never know what the things that haven't worked contribute to the things that do work,
Yes, there is no wasted experience, is there? Like everything just like is another little building block and a little like layer. And even like you say, even if you don't know exactly how that is ever going to feed into what you think you're going to do in the future, they're all building blocks to your humanness and story.
Yeah. I love what you said about, you grew up in the wheat belt. So for you, it's just this natural thing to go up and talk to people. Because I do think I've spent a fair bit of time in the country growing up in particular. And it is that, there's just this facility of communication, which is often, I think if you were an observer and you didn't know what you were looking at, it sounds like complete sentences are never used. Like it's just this kind of flow of conversation between people in a country town that you kind of step into the flow. And there's not necessarily a start or an end to that sentence. It's always the middle of the sentence, which maybe is a metaphor or a literal thing for stepping into each other's lives when you're in that kind of community.
Yes. Yeah. It's definitely different. And I feel like I can always pick the people who have grown up in the country because there's just a different openness to them and I don't know if it's an authenticity or like a vulnerability, because there's definitely some stoic old blokes out in the wheat belt, but it's just a willingness to help.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
The sense that you're all in it together actually does really require the community to pull everything together.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what is Crap Song Club?
I started Crap Song Club when I moved to Brisbane because it's a part of Australian Songwriting Retreats. Now, one of my bestest friends, Rose Parker, and I started Australian Songwriting Retreats over in Perth, and they were physical retreats, and we'd run about oh gosh, I think we're up to about 7 or 8 physical retreats, and they were so great. But we did call it Australian Songwriting Retreats because we knew that I was leaving to come to Brisbane. So I haven't quite worked out the next physical side of things, but I thought I'd figure out the online side of things while I was hitting the ground running a little bit, and hence the birth of Crap Song Club. And it all came out of Rose and I were also in a band together called the Holy Smoke, and our bandy Carly was having a little bit of a mental blockage, and she was like, oh, you two write all the songs, and like, oh, I just can't write a song. And I was like, just go and write like a crap song. Like, you just have to write a crap song, get it out of the way. Like, Carly is not a crap songwriter. Like, she is incredible. She was like top of whopper. She's amazing. Like, her ear just blows my mind. Anyway, go and write a crap song, Carly. Okay. Of course, the song she wrote was not crap,
Right.
and it was wonderful, and it was the first single off our EP. So it all sort of stemmed from there. Just the idea of taking away the expectations and like the perfectionism as a creator. If you can take that away and you start with just, well, I'll just throw some spaghetti at the wall and just see what sticks.
Yeah.
And there being no outcome. There doesn't have to be an outcome. It's just the process of just literally picking up the spaghetti and throwing it and see what happens in that doing of process, and see what happens. Like, I wonder, and the magic is in that. So I thought, let's see if this works online, and it has, and it's been so great. I think we're like 100 songs got written last year, and that was since I've been here in Brisbane, and it's just been such a privilege to watch these people come and share their songs that they've only had 1 week to write from this prompt, and the depth and the breadth and the spaghetti and the tomato sauce, and it's messy, and there's like nuggets of gold, but it's also community, because these wonderful humans come together, and everyone's a bit nervous and like, oh my gosh, but they all support each other, and they're all there. They know that everything's a work in progress, and they all have to say something nice about the song at the end. Once you present your song, we talk about the song. Oh, okay, maybe we could do this. Maybe we could, have you thought about, oh, right, yeah, cool. And then the next person will share. So it's an opportunity for people to share, but also participate in being an audience member and listening. Because when you hold space for someone, it's so important. It's just as important as sharing. Holding space is a part of sharing. So it's this beautiful full circle of creativity and sharing ideas and story. Again, back to story. I was very long-winded, sorry. I get so excited about it, so.
Yeah, which is beautiful. You know, passion is beautiful and also infectious. And I should point out, and I'll put links in appropriate places, but there is an Instagram account for Australian Songwriters Retreat where people can find out about the Crap Song Club. But I was just thinking, the permission you give to the writers by saying, oh, it's going to be a crap song, you're also giving to the audience to not expect that it's anything other than a crap song, which in turn I would imagine makes the person who's written the song feel like, oh, well, okay, doesn't matter if they don't like it. But as you said, you know, you encourage kindness in the responses.
Absolutely. And what you said before about building blocks, you know, like sometimes you've got to write 5 crap songs to get to that gold one, you know, like that Moxie, like the album Moxie. I think I wrote 50 songs and only 10 of them were on the album. But there were like little like glimmers of diamonds along the way that I could cherry pick amongst the like crap songs that will, you know, will never see the light of day, that songs that have had to have done a work in me. And then I you know, I don't have to share them with anyone. They're just for me. But I might use that snippet of melody in something. Yeah. And so it's a beautiful jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah. It's a great device, and it's funny that I don't think I've heard of it before, actually, just that using the word crap, like it's like crap song, taking that pressure off It's very liberating. And it reminds me, actually, the very first time I went to Tamworth Country Music Festival, I went as a performer in a country music band, and I did not like country music at the time. I was just in a friend's band. I was a huge snob about country music. I was like, oh no. But I remember getting to the festival, and I've been to a lot of music festivals
Yeah.
where everyone's trying to be cool, right? Get to Tamworth. And I thought, oh, I get it. Country music's daggy and everyone here knows it. And therefore, no one is expecting anyone to be cool, which was a similar principle to the Crap Song Club, because it just took the pressure off everyone, performers and audience alike. And what has emerged every time I've been there is this joyful experience of really just wanting to be with the music and in the moment. And it's great. So I'm not even a songwriter, but Crap Song Club sounds like a club I would like to be a member of. Let's put it that way.
So good. And the expectations are low to begin with, so it's a good place to start, I feel.
Well, I'll be, as I said, linking it, and people can head your way and write their own crap songs. But you mentioned Moxie, and I do want to talk about Moxie, but I'd like to go back to the beginning of your musical life, because you grew up on country rock, apparently. So I'm wondering which artists in particular you grew up on.
Yeah. So on the vinyl, the record player that Dad had, Dad listened to a lot of Rolling Stones, early Stones, Beatles, the Eagles, lots of the Eagles. My mum loved John Denver and oh, who's the man who sings Sweet Caroline? Neil Diamond, Joe Cocker, even Santana and ELO. I think ELO was my first concert that I ever went to. So yeah, lots of late 60s, early 70s is my
Right.
where my heart lies.
And some big voices in there, which tells me a bit about your own, because you've got this really strong, great voice. So for your development as a singer, well, actually, which came first? Did you sing first? Did you play guitar first? Did you write songs first?
I sung and played very badly for many years. I grew up in a church-going family, so going to church, listening to music. My dad played keys in the church. My mum sang beautiful harmonies. So yeah, just always being around music. There's always a piano in the house. We had piano lessons. But I didn't pick up a guitar until I was probably 19 or 20, I think. And Dad always played the carols by candlelight. That was his thing every year. And he asked me one year if I'd come and accompany him on just a couple of songs, which I did, and it was great. And then, long story short, we ended up starting a family band, and we were called Three Bob. And my dad gave my brother a bass guitar, and so we had bass, guitar, and keys. So we started a cover band, and we played that for years and years around the wheat belt. And because my dad had done this when he was in his 20s and played in, bands around with his mates around the wheat belt. So I did that and sort of cut my teeth doing that, really. And then didn't know what to do with my life. Eventually studied some music at TAFE and started an original music, started writing, and then went away to Europe and stopped doing all that for a bit and got into boys and all sorts of mischief. And then just music has always been something that's kept knocking at the door of my heart. And I just keep coming back to it, and until finally I've just given up, and I've just, yes, okay, the door is open, come on in. So it is everything music, everything all the time, music, songs, story. Yeah. And I still play guitar for very, very averagely. But it's okay. I play electric now, so I can just turn it up and put the distortion on, and it's fine.
Which is perhaps why Moxie took a more rock direction than country direction. So good, great. When you were with the Gunslingers, that was more country direction, and then Moxie shifted. But I can hear the lineage from the bands you grew up on, but still very much you. So you said you had 50 songs from that. You had 50 songs from which you chose 10. When did you start writing for it? Or did you actually start writing as a project, thinking I'm going to make an album, or was it just you had all these songs and you thought I'm going to do something with them?
When I finished up with Delilah, it was very, very organic. When I finished up with Delilah Rose and the Gunslingers, I knew it was because it needed to be in a different, that I was writing with other sounds in mind. And I knew that that's where I wanted to head. I think I was pregnant with my second child at the time, so I was I had to wind it back and have a baby. And of course, when you are pregnant and then when you have a small child, it's not a lot of time to do much else. So I spent a lot of time musing and thinking on and what was going to happen next. And this is like Moxie was like a 3-year kind of process.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, I heard a band called Fanny from America, and they were the first female band to be signed to a major label in the late 60s, which at the time was an incredible, incredible feat. And the first single was Ain't That Peculiar. And it was just a light bulb moment for me. And I was like, oh, right. Not only the sound of the song, but I want an all-female band, and I want it to look like this, and I want it to sound like this. And so I had a very, very clear idea from the beginning. It just took me a while to get there because I didn't have any money. I was a stay-at-home mum. I was like, right, how do I make this happen? Okay, grant application, grant application, grant application, crowdfunding. Right. Okay, selling merch. Right. So I just asked people, for help.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And I was reading a book about David Bowie. It's probably the third Bowie book that I was reading. And I wanted to do it the old school way, where they wrote the album, they recorded the album, and then they toured the album.
Right.
So I wanted to do it that way as well. And wow, it sounds like, yeah, I was a bit obsessed actually. So that was the way that it all kind of panned out. I needed something else that wasn't just brain dead, being mum and nappies and caffeine and nappies and caffeine.
I think in the lyrics of the album, there is a bit of that rub, that friction between life as a householder and a creative life. And there's one song on there, and I forget which one it was, but there's kind of an acknowledgement that, yeah, you are this creative being, and that's the entirety of who you are, but there are these other things going on. So I guess it must have been you writing out life to an extent, but also knowing, coming from a place of authenticity, that there would be other people who connect with that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm definitely I'm very, very open with how hard being a parent is. It's so, so tricky. And I've had so many people, women and men, say, yes, 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 I feel seen.
Right.
Yes, it is very tricky. It is the hardest unpaid work I've ever done. That and being a musician.
Yeah, that's yeah, you were talking earlier about songwriting within, and performing, and and people wanting to be seen, needing to be seen. And I think that works for your audience as well. When you say that people saying they feel seen, part of your job as an artist is to be the person doing the acknowledging of others, as well as someone who's being acknowledged by your listeners, by your audience.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I love that connection when there's one person in the audience who feels like they're the only person in the audience.
Right.
And yeah, just being able to tell my story about parenting through rock and roll has been an absolute joy, and the show, the shows with the All-Star Ladies of Rock were just so fun and ridiculous. And all the women that were playing with me in Perth were all mums. They all had kids, young kids, like our drummer Jess, she was pregnant when if you have a look in Bitch Fizz, the video clip, she's pregnant in Bitch Fizz. Like, and it was just good to be in that space with other women. And it's such a, like, as soon as you hit 2024 or something, your life is sort of over in the music industry. So it's really great to be with other women in a similar age, late 30s through to mid 40s, who are doing the thing because they love it, and they're going to keep doing the thing because they love it. And just because you have kids doesn't mean like you're not dead. You just, you've got a few other priorities, yes, but like if rock and roll is my lifeblood, music's my lifeblood. If I wasn't doing it, I'd be a terrible mum. Terrible mum.
Now you've had to leave the All-Star Ladies of Rock behind in Perth, so I would imagine there's not a band yet in Brisbane. So are these other things you're doing, Crap Song Club and the Song Café, these are your are you thinking that you may eventually find out of this community some new people to play with, or these are just existing for their own sake?
All of that. Yeah, for sure. Just meeting new people has been a part of that. A part of me thought I could just pick up where I left off with Moxie, and Moxie's come to the end of its sort of marketing cycle, I guess. So I'm sort of back to square one, and I've been musing again, and what's it called when you dream board? No, you
Vision board.
Thank you, vision boarding, and yeah, just listening and listening to where the cultural tapestry is, and like seeing where and what and who, and figuring it out a little bit. And that's been really great. It's different here. So yeah, just listening. I'm just listening, checking it out.
Which is, is a part of your job as an artist to try to read the zeitgeist or anticipate what's going on. It's probably more magic than science in a way.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's definitely a gut feel that and intuition as well, that you sort of plug into. And then, there's already been little things that have happened, like I went to see a play, and then I met someone who was actually the producer of that play that I'd seen, and now we're working together. But that was completely random, or was it? Like, just little things like that. And already all of the women that I've met in the industry here and the community here have just been fabulous. And like I went to Big Sound, which was great, but not really a place for a 44-year-old artist to be on stage. But saying that, everyone that I met, all the women there that I met who were doing what I'm doing, were just fabulous. And I'm still talking to all of those gals, and they've all been very helpful if I've ever needed, well, all the time when I have all of the questions. They've been great.
But it should be a place where 44-year-old women can be seen on stage. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing. It's music is part of our culture. Culture is for everyone, all generations, and it's a very weird thing if we think that the stories stop at 24, that there's nothing to say after that age.
Yes, I 120,000% agree with you. It is, and I think more and more people are talking about it, which I think is really great. Is it Jack River with the baby? I forget. Yeah, just it's good to see that older women are still, playing and still, yeah, not dead yet. You still got a voice. Have a go. Like, it's all right to get out there and have a go.
Now, as passionate as you are, I imagine there are times when the fire dims a little bit, when it's hard to either manifest your creativity or keep it going. Are there things you do for yourself to try to reconnect with that creative fire?
Yeah, definitely. Being a mum, there's a lot of noise. I'm actually an introvert, so just learning about for myself needing to take myself away from all of the noise all of the time, and allowing myself to just charge my battery, and how important that is for me. So yeah, yoga is really great for my brain, and resting. I love sleep. Like I need to have a good sleep, and hubby would also agree with me. I've created a little space. Like I have my space now, and it has a little, like, my little chair and there's like our bedroom, but this is my little space, and I have all my books are here, so that I can just like come in and sit down and grab my guitar and write, even if it's one line to something I've been working on, as I'm walking past to fold some more laundry or wipe another butt. It's still just there if I need it. And I didn't have that in my last house, so this has been really great to have that.
Well, as Virginia Woolf says, one should have a room of one's own.
She is my girl.
There you go. I've made the right literary reference. Well, I will wrap it up because you have things to do. You have small children, and it's a Saturday afternoon we're talking, so you no doubt have Saturday things to do. But it's been so interesting, motivating, inspiring, wonderful to talk to you. And I hope people get along to the Song Café. You may well inspire people in other cities to start doing this. So you might have a whole chain of song cafes.
Yes, do it. Go ahead. Go forth. Prosper, children.
And join the Crap Song Club. Now,
Yes. Come on.
Well, in the meantime, they can listen to Moxie and Delilah Rose. What a pleasure it has been to talk to you. Thank you for your time.
So